Welcome to the Loren Lahav podcast. This is a space where high-performance women come to own their truth, take the mic, and lead with a voice that no one can ever ignore. I'm Loren Lahav, coach, speaker, and mentor. And for the past 36 years, I've been obsessed with helping women rise into their unapologetic power. I've shared the stage with so many amazing icons like Tony Robbins, Barbara Walters, Gary Vaynerchuk, and Shark Tank's finest. But my greatest passions is you, the women ready to stop playing small, stop filtering yourself, and finally lead boldly. So we're here to cut through the fluff, drop all the masks, and step into the brilliance that's already inside you. You're bold, you're brilliant, and you are totally badass. And this podcast is here to ignite that fire in you. So let's dive in. All right, everyone, welcome back. Oh, you're in for a treat today. I don't know, every time I bring some fabulous woman on to share her story, I think that you're in for a treat. This woman I have known, I think now for more than, 14 years maybe?
Around that.
14 years, amazing. She's had a huge impact on my life, starting as my Pilates instructor. And then we developed a beautiful, deep friendship. And she's going to share with you, it's like one of my quotes that I always refer to is that you want to make God laugh, you tell her your plan. And sometimes plans don't always go the way that we thought that they would. So,
Yes.
Tania, you're here to share with everybody. I'm so grateful that you're here, but I really thank you for having the courage to be here and to share this message with everyone around the world, because I think it's important. We always think, oh my gosh, nothing could happen to me, right? I know that for me, I never thought that I was going to go through a divorce, or I never thought that I'd go through, having a miscarriage, or, dealing with some financial issues that maybe that I didn't think that I would have to deal with. But we get through them, and I try to do it with grit and grace sometimes. But you went through, I remember it as clear as the day is long. I remember I'd come in to do a session with you, and you said, hey, I'm headed to San Diego, and my husband is going to have just a surgery on our heart, on his heart.
Yes.
And we'll see you after Thanksgiving. I remember that. And then I remember, I think I was in D.C. visiting my mom, and you're like, oh my God, Loren, like, he's gone. I think you had to take him off life support. So
it's when life gives you those detours that you don't see coming. But if we're privileged to be alive and love and live, those detours are gonna come to all of us, whatever those detours are. And my biggest life challenge was losing him that weekend, because I just wasn't prepared.
Yeah.
And
well, I don't think you can really be, like that part, like you said, like it wasn't in any way, you were like, you weren't prepared. But when you say you weren't prepared, do you feel you emotionally weren't prepared, or prepared in a lot of areas? Like maybe there's some lessons here that
For sure.
you can teach people about.
For sure. I think when I say that, I mean that I wasn't expecting my husband to die that weekend.
Right.
So sometimes if your person is ill for a long time, there's a relief that comes because they're no longer in pain. But my husband and I went out to dinner the night before surgery. We went for a walk on the beach. He chose this surgery.
Right.
He chose it to have more quality of life and to continue to live vibrant. And so that's the lesson for me. And
well, and also it was during a really tough time. It was during COVID. I remember you posting
Yes.
the photo that you shared at True Voice. You showed a selfie that you guys took of
Yep.
yourself, like it was during COVID.
Yeah.
So on
It was
top
true.
of it,
Exactly.
on top of it,
So
you
I
were dealing with
think
COVID.
that was, sometimes I forget that it happened during COVID. So even to do a life celebration, it was on Zoom.
Yeah.
And so it took me a while. Like I had to give my heart and my body and my mind time to process all of it. And yes, COVID threw in, we were all struggling through COVID. So this just added to that. But I think there's many stories out there like mine, right? And it's loss of all kinds of things. Loss of, like you mentioned, my plans for the future, loss of a relationship, loss of my daily routine. And that could be a divorce, that could be a change in career, that could be empty nester, that could be so many things. And so navigating our lives through these losses, I think that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about how we can take these huge detours that happen in life and use them for growth.
Yeah.
And now I like to think that Al sends me these little messages and reminds me to live big, because he's not here to do it anymore. And so now I'm doing it for both of us.
Yeah.
And so that is such a reminder for me that I'm still here, that I still get to do all the things, and hell yes, I'm going to work on doing them. It doesn't mean I don't have days where I'm sad, right? I think loss is different for everyone, and we all find our way. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. But
finding your way, like you said, and like you
way.
said, loss can be the loss of a job.
Correct.
It could be a divorce. So loss, even though it might look different, it's still you still go through a grieving period,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So what would you say some of those periods are that people go through, no matter if it's a loss of a job, a loss of a relationship, or, a death?
I think.
What have you noticed
I
the
think
commonalities are?
It's kind of the shift in your daily routine. Whatever you were used to doing, we get into those routines in our lives, right? Waking up, having rituals, going to the gym or going to work, or having breakfast with your person, or taking your kids to school. I mean,
Right.
I think we get comfortable
Yes.
in our routine. And so when something happens that creates a shift, and we have to go, okay, I have got to take a different turn here. I've got to find a new rhythm. That takes a little bit of time, right? And that takes support, and being aware that you have to take time, and you have to make new rituals and new routines and start from scratch. And that's why starting over, I like to call it next chapter, new beginnings, is something that sometimes we all have to do in life.
Absolutely. I just went through it with Asher. Now I'm an empty nester.
Yes.
And I remember going into her room, and that the room was all empty. And I remember, okay, I got to do something about this. I don't want to sit. I sat in the room. I had my big cry, right? She's gone. She's moved away. She's moved to Richmond. There's no more kids in the house. I know you went through it because you have 3 kids. And then I was like looking at myself and going, okay, well, what are you going to do about it? Right? Like, what are you going to do about it? And the weekend that we did True Voice, I was like, okay, I'm having the guy come over. I'm putting new floors in. I'm turning this into my office. I'm going to turn it into happy space where, I'm not going to just more. And then I showed her the new space. So what's something that you did when this first happened?
I mean, at first, I think going out for a simple walk was really where I started. Because for me, because it was the loss of a partnership for 39 years, I kind of needed to feel the sadness for a while. And I didn't jump right away to feel good. It took me a while, I'll be honest.
I love that.
I gave myself a year to be whatever that was. And it wasn't pleasant, but I sat with it. And slowly, my heart and my mind wanted more. And slowly a walk with my dog, and eventually a dinner by myself, and eventually a trip to Europe.
Actually ran into each other. Do you remember that? The first year, and you were having lunch by yourself, and I think I was having lunch by myself. We ran into, remember?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
And so
that's a really beautiful thing. First of all, I honor that immensely. In Judaism, we spend a month, as you know, it's called sitting Shiva, and you really feel it. Like, you feel the sadness, you feel the pain, and then we say that it's a year till the soul sense. And so
Yes.
giving that full year to experience all of the emotions that you're going through, I think helps a lot. What did you learn that first year?
I really learned that we all do it differently because I had friends that moved on right away now that I've spoken to many other widows. And so the way that it worked for me doesn't necessarily work for everyone, but I did learn that I had to pace myself. And I learned to trust that I needed to sit with it. And that's what worked for me. And naturally, organically, I started to want to dream, to think about possibilities, about going on that big hike, taking that big trip. But I did marinate with my sadness for a year.
Right. And what did you learn about yourself that year?
I learned I'm resilient. And I learned that it's okay to be sad and that life is not always happy, happy, happy. And that I really wanted to be sad because my love was worth it.
Right.
So if I wouldn't have had that relationship, that love, that great time with my husband, all those memories, I wouldn't have been sad.
Right.
So I embraced the sadness in a way.
Yeah.
It was my way of holding on to him for a little bit longer. And so I reframed it. And, it was okay to be sad because I lost my best friend.
Yeah.
And it was natural that I was sad.
What about your kids? I know you have 3 amazing grown kids. I know that your relationship with them really went to the next level as well because you had to take on the business as well.
Yes. Yes. That also happened organically. Ironically, we are now closer probably than we were when Al was alive because we've hung tight and we've learned a lot about each other. And we've learned how to support each other and who's got strengths and where each of our strengths have been needed, especially in business. We're all different. We all do different roles in the company. And discovering that, and then siblings working together, running a business has been a discovery for them as well. So looking back, it's been an opportunity for my kids to grow and to learn how to be self-sufficient and learn new skills.
Well, once again, it was compounded with other things as well. You're in the event business.
Yes.
That again happened during COVID.
Yes.
So it's almost like you were hit with many different, obstacles along the way because I remember it had just started.
Yes.
And then, so Al was there, and the boys were working with him during that time, and they were, working on different ways to pivot. But then they had to pivot again and pivot again. It's almost like Al gave you guys the foundation, and then he's like, okay, now you guys go build it.
Exactly. I mean, I remember when his partner called me and said, so are you, closing shop? And I was like, oh, no. And the kids all stepped up. I mean, they all said, we want to run with this, Mom. So
what made you decide? That's interesting. So what made you decide, no, we're not closing shop? What made you decide, oh, we're doing this? Was it because it was his dream? Because it was something that you all were excited to do together? What was that?
Oh, wow. Well, that's a great question. I think a little bit of all of it. I think a part of it at the beginning was to keep his legacy going because he had built this business for 40 years and that's what he did and he was known in the industry. I think because we had a business model, we had clients, we had equipment, we had it in place. There was just no shows going on because of COVID and we had lost our leader. But we all trusted in each other and I remember saying, we're going to do this first show, and it was a big show in Orlando, and we called in resources, we called in people that he had worked, I called in a lot of favors, I called people that he had helped along the way, and that showed up for me and my kids and said, okay, well, we're here, we're going to help you.
How'd you feel after that?
It was amazing. It
because
really
I remember
was.
I remember before for many years, you're like, I'm not having anything to do with this whole event world like this. I remember that. And
Yeah.
so how did you feel when you just said, you know what, I'm calling these people and I'm going to see what happened? What shifted in you?
I think
To honor him?
Keep going.
Yeah.
I think that I don't even know that I knew that was happening, but it's like that survival, when you're drowning and you automatically are going to grab that person to help you. I just I knew I needed to survive, and I knew I needed to help set my kids up. And it was during COVID, and everybody was displaced, and we had this great opportunity of this business that he had built, and even though COVID had shut us down, it was there. It was there. And really, my kids have just been amazing. I mean, I did say yes, but they've ran with it. And I am so, so, so proud of them. They're running it.
Right.
They're doing it.
I love everything, though, that you're saying, because if you're really listening, those of you that are listening to the podcast, her language is very powerful, because you could have done the opposite. Right? But because of your focus, because you said, we're doing this, because you didn't go, oh my gosh, COVID's here, the event world's like dead, you chose the opposite. And do you think it was, and look, and all the reasons why? One, to honor your husband. Two, to grow your relationship deeper with your kids. It gave you all purpose, right?
Yes.
I mean, there's so many things that you chose to focus on. One of my favorite lines is, where focus goes, energy flows.
Yes.
And so literally you're like, we're all in, we're putting on our blinders, we're not listening to any of the other stuff that's out there telling us of why we can't. So what's happened since there? What's happened with the business? What's happened for your kids?
I mean, it's been such a huge journey and lesson, I think, for all of us. I think my kids have grown in ways that they didn't even know that they had in them. They're running the business. My youngest son is literally stepped into his father's footsteps. My daughter didn't know anything about the industry, and she's in charge of sales and contracts, and my other son is in charge of building and going to shows and setting up, and they've all taken up a role, and all three of them have little bits of him, so all three of them have kind of are doing what he used to do, and I'm just the boss mom. I keep check on everybody, but I don't even go into the shop. I just sign checks and I do the back end.
But how
stuff.
cool! Because I remember when I was working with you in Pilates, there was a time where your kids were kind of lost.
Yes.
And maybe you can talk about that everybody goes through seasons, but eventually everybody's going to be okay. It's almost like it was divinely an opportunity. Maybe he divinely set this up to bring you all together, to let you know it was all going to be okay. Because I remember there were many, many times, right?
Absolutely.
So maybe you can talk about that.
It's trusting. It's faith. It's wanting to see something positive out of something bad that happened. It's taking a look at all the nuggets and all the beauty that you can build when something feels like it's falling apart. And I'm really thrilled that my family was able to do that. And for him, right. in a way, I feel like this is how we're honoring him. He built this foundation. Right. He built this family. He raised these kids with me, and they've stepped up. And I think that we've all stepped up. And so the bigger picture is, how do we continue? How do we continue to live and honor the life and the family that we build together, and just thrive?
So what are some of the new rituals that you've put in place?
So, of course, I've learned a lot of gratitude. That's taken some time because, at the beginning, you're sad and I was kind of the victim for a while.
Right.
But I wake up now and I just have tremendous gratitude for the gift that he gave us and
You're
the
going to
family.
be a grandmama.
I'm going to be a grandma. And that's a gift and that I wasn't expecting to do alone,
Yeah.
and I just have to every day remember that he's with me and that he's guiding us. And this is a whole new journey for me and my family, and I'm so excited to step into something new. And I think that's another big message, is to not be scared. I'm in my 60s, and it's hard sometimes to start over this is not where I thought I would be. I thought I would be in retirement with my husband. And
Right.
instead, I'm building businesses and traveling and making plans. And, it's really owning that life is so big and we're still living it until the very end, and I think
But like
it's
I said, if you
powerful.
listen to her language, right, there's a lot of people that could have looked at the other way and been like, you know what, I've decided I'm not going to travel. I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to let my kids run. I'm not going to be a part of it. I'm just going to check out. But you decided to focus on, hey, I'm 60 and I'm building businesses and I'm traveling and I'm this and I'm doing this with my kids. So I'm really proud of you. I'm
Thank
really
you.
proud of you because once again, you decided to go, hey, let's go. Let's make let's make our life a masterpiece.
Yes.
In the way that it is.
Yes, and sometimes I like to think of that saying, like, let go, let's go, because sometimes we can sit for way too long.
Mm-hmm.
And another lesson I learned is tomorrow is not promised,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we've got to live to the fullest.
I'm proud of you because you said something very, very important right now.
What?
And you said sometimes we can just sit a little bit too long.
Yes.
Do you find that this has caused you to even live life a little bit differently?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've eliminated relationships from my life that weren't serving me anymore. I've tried new things that are uncomfortable. I've definitely, it's almost like when something like this happens, you build this inner strength that gives you the opportunity to say, okay, I've already done hard. So what can be harder? Come on,
Yeah.
let's go.
That's interesting that you say that because I remember I had my dear friend Lucy Dowdy. She had lost her husband, the love of her life, and she had two little boys.
Yes.
And she was sharing her story about it. That unfortunately he was in their home gym and he had passed away, and he had a heart attack in their gym. And I remember a girl asked her a question, and Lucy said, well, it could be worse. And the person was like, well, what do you mean it could be worse? What a horrible, and Lucy's like, it's true. It could be worse, like a situation. And so I just love that because she's like, I've already been through the hardest thing in my life, which was losing my best friend, like what you just went through.
Yeah.
Everything else, like when something comes up for me, she's like, it could be worse. And so it does. She had a whole new barometer
Yes.
of how she saw life and how she saw challenges.
It does that to you if you
Yeah.
pay attention. If you pay attention and you really learn the lesson of life, when something impactful happens to you. And I think also I wanted to grow from it. I wanted
great
it to
word.
mean
Right.
something more than him just dying. I wanted him to be proud of me. I wanted to show something for it, and in growth in my family, and that we could still thrive, not just survive. That word survive, I used it at the beginning, and it gives you a different sense of what it's like, because survive is just waking up in the morning.
And what does thrive mean to you?
Thrive means really waking up in the morning and, with a smile in your face, with a plan, with your rituals, with tomorrow, is not promised, but let's do something. Let's, just just really taking life in a different way, really appreciating the small things. You know, not just the big things, the small things.
I love that. So what would be the top takeaways that you'd want to say for somebody who needs to reinvent, whether it's losing a job, being an empty nester, going through a divorce, going through a death? What would be the top 3 things that you want to share with them?
I think first, give yourself time, you know, but know that you can't stay there for very long. But you need to give yourself time. The goal is to eventually take that first step. Whatever that step is for you, it could be walking, it could be meditation, prayer, you know, it could be going out with your girlfriends to lunch, whatever that is. And then just reimagine the possibilities that are out there. There really is so much opportunity and so many things that we could do as far as to give you purpose in life. And so as long as you take that step, so definitely give yourself time, and then take that step, whatever that is for you, and pick up some new rituals, and pick up some new rituals that you can do that help you find joy again, you know?
Right. And I love it. I'm so proud of you. I'm really, really proud of you. I love that. I love it. Like you said, first it started with a walk, you by yourself on a walk. Then it was going on a walk with your dog.
Yes.
Then it was going on hikes with your kids. I saw you. I was Facebook stalking you. And then you're like, I'm gonna hike in Spain, and then I'm gonna hike around Europe, right? Like so. Then it just that one walk. It was that first step that you decided to take. It was
that first step for me, for sure. And you know, I did that walk in Spain. I did the Camino Santiago walk, and I took some of Al's ashes with me. And I get asked this a few times because I have spread his ashes now in 3 places. Wow. And it's just been my way. Yeah. You know? But he's in the ocean, he's in the mountains, and he's in Spain. And every time I do that release, it's different, and it feels different, and it feels like I'm honoring him and like I'm taking a little piece of him with me. And so, yes, it started with a walk. And I recently did that long hike. And my kids and I, we started not to want to celebrate holidays at home. That's how it started. After that first step, it was like, we don't want to be home for Thanksgiving, where are we going? We don't want to be home for Christmas, where are we going? And I think that we've not been home for any holidays in the 4 years that he's been gone.
Wow.
It's been our way. He loved being out in nature. He loved having adventures. So we've gone from Moab to Jackson Hole to Cabo for Christmas to Zion for Thanksgiving. It doesn't matter what it is. We just don't want to just sit around the table at home. And so we look to be outdoors, and we look to do things together and to create memories. Really, that's what it's become for me now. Wow. You know, it's about making memories with my kids.
Like you said, just new rituals, maybe new and improved rituals.
Yes.
Right? it doesn't have to look, it still mean that you're together, but it's just a different togetherness, and really taking him with you, like you said, like doing those hikes. It's funny. A friend of ours passed away right before I was leaving to go to Greece, and at his memorial, at his celebration of life, they had, if people wanted, they gave ashes to people. And I took the ashes with me, and I forgot to take them out before I went to Greece. And I was like, okay, I guess we're going to Greece. And so everywhere that I went, I'm like, okay. And I took a picture for his wife and his daughter. I'm like, okay, we're in Santorini. Okay, now we're going to Mykonos. Okay, now we're going to Crete. And so it felt really wonderful, though. I was like, oh my gosh. At first, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so bad. Like I didn't, I should have left it at home. And then it was so great because it created new memories for them, too. Right? Like he always wanted to go to Greece. He always wanted to celebrate and do these things. I'm like, okay, we're sailing. I know how much you love sailing. So here we're going. We're on our private catamaran. So it's awesome. I love
That's so special. What you just said is so special because you created memories for his family. And, when someone leaves, their energy is still around.
Yes.
So they might not be here physically, but they're here in how we talk about them, how we remember them, how we share stories, and we keep their energy alive, and they're around, So I love that you did that, and I'm sure that the family loved seeing all those pictures.
Well, yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
We definitely put a smile on their face, and it's funny because it reminds me of Asher. Asher, as you know, she is true to herself like no one else I even know. But she was collecting taxidermy and old photos, and I was like, I didn't understand it, but I let her do it. I didn't try to stop her, but in her room were all these old photos and very interesting animals. And when she was her senior year last year, the first day of school, she goes, "Hey, Mom, I started working on my senior paper." And I was like, "That's great." And she goes, "You want me to read it to you?" And so the essay. And it was actually about life and death. We had just lost our friend Sandy. And she shared about just like how important the cycle of life is, and that she said, lots of times people don't understand me, that I collect taxidermy and that I collect old photos. She goes, but how quickly we just discard like old photos, or we discard animals. And she goes, and I want to bring a different life to it. I want to let them know that strangers care about their face and about their memories and about an animal that maybe did that. And I think that what you're saying is, yes, the energy's out there, but it's our responsibility to keep it alive. It's our responsibility to keep those stories going. It's our responsibility to talk about this and share it with the world, right?
It is.
And understanding that loss is going to happen in some way, whether, once again, it's a job, whether it's, someone close to you, whether it's relationship, whether it's empty nesting, it's going to happen. But how we choose to move forward is up to us.
Absolutely.
And so I love it. So what's one final question is, what's one thing that you do to stay true to yourself every day, no matter what?
I think I wake up in the morning and I do my little gratitude prayer, and then I look at myself in the mirror and I tell myself I love you, because I'm now married to me.
Yes. So
I'm learning to put myself first and to love myself, and that's a big one for me. To just really know that I've got me now. I've got me. And so, yeah, that's become a little thing I'm doing every morning, to just remind myself that I'm special, and that I've got this, and that I'm making good choices. And even when I'm not making good choices, it's okay, because
I love that.
I've got me.
I love that. And you also hopefully know that you're not having to do this alone, that you got a great community around you. You got great family, great friends, and I am blessed to call you such a dear friend, and I adore you. I know you all just fell in love with her, and hopefully you created some great, took tons of notes about ways for you to create some new, improved rituals for yourself. So thank you so much for joining us today. And if you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe to our podcast and learn more about Tania. She's got lots of great things that are coming up, and just an honor to be with you. Thanks, everyone. Stay true.
Same here. Stay true.
You are badass. You are beautiful. You are freaking brilliant. Thank you so much for joining me on the Loren Lahav podcast. I appreciate you, and I'm beyond grateful for your presence, your power, and the space you share with me here. Out of all of the podcasts out there, the fact that you're here with me means the world. So do me one small favor. Please share this podcast with a woman you know who's ready to rise, because together we're building a movement of women who stand up, speak up, and create the lives we've been dreaming of. Until next time, stay true, stay brilliant, and remember, you've always had the mic. It's now your time to really use it. Stay true.